Welcome to Out of the World, and in this episode a very special one. You already saw us traveling through Asia, but this time we're going to group with Pangea Travels from the Netherlands and see the most beautiful parts of West Malaysia. And this behind me is the first stop, Kuala Lumpur. In the previous episodes you saw us in Vietnam, and over there we made a beautiful tour through the mountains of the north. And we fly to a new adventure in Malaysia from Hanoi. We arrived in the biggest and busiest city of Malaysia. This is Kuala Lumpur and our view is amazing, as is the room in the Kuala Lumpur Journal. We got ourselves a front row seat, a bed, and the adventure starts with a bang. We take a Grab, the Asian equivalent of Uber, and the first activity is something that a Dutch guy like me can appreciate. This is the big city, guys, Kuala Lumpur. And how can we explore this better than by bike? We're gonna rent a bike at Mike Bikes and make a little cycling tour with them of about 3 to 4 hours to see all the best places in Kuala Lumpur. Let's go! Dressed up in orange, we surrender to the guide and the bustle of this immense city. Right in the middle of Kuala Lumpur is a place that you would not expect, and that's our first stop. This is Kampung Baru, and the people live here as they did hundreds of years ago. And why is that? 120 years ago, the Industrial Revolution started in Malaysia and this city was being built. And the original people, the farmers, were being pushed out. So the Sultan gave them a piece of land on which we are standing right now, and it's worth over $4 billion. But they got it from the government and they live here in a traditional village. What a great sight is this old-fashioned farmer's village near that skyline. And since 2020, the two are connected by a bridge, the Pintasan Saloma. The contrast between the village and the city couldn't be bigger at the bridge that I'm standing on right now, because behind me is the village and over there are the towers. For me this is very funny because we have the Johan Cruyff Foundation in the Netherlands and he makes these football courts, but they donated one here in Malaysia as well. Super nice! We continue the bike ride along the most famous mosques and temples. A very nice thing about Malaysia is that you have the freedom to believe in whatever you want. Most of the people are Muslims, but for instance we are now in a Sikh temple. It's called a Gurdwara and they have a kitchen where everybody of every belief can eat for free as long as you do the dishes. In Sikhism, all the beliefs are equal and everyone is welcome in this temple. What a wonderful experience, and we cycle on through the city of KL. The next stop, while we hear the mosque in the background, is the market, and we're gonna try some local herbs, spices and fruits over here to get to know them a little bit better, the locals. But we start at the local snack stand. So we're trying a local dish, it's called murtaba. It's like a curry pancake. Kind of tastes a bit Indian, but it's a local traditional food. Very good. And then we go into the market dome to taste some tropical fruits that Malaysia is known for. First up, a fresh sweet rambutan. And Sus is trying longan here, also called the dragon's eye. This is a deliciously sweet mangosteen. And finally we try this bittersweet langsat. We stroll past all the sections of the market and are amazed. And it also makes us hungry. Time for a typical Malaysian lunch. The cycling tour of Mike Bikes was so much fun and we already saw a lot of the city. But we're now moving on to a literal highlight of Kuala Lumpur. The next place we're going to visit in KL are the Petronas Twin Towers, and they're still a couple of the biggest buildings in the world. With a super fast elevator you can go up in the towers of 452 meters. But we make the first stop at 170 meters for something special. The Petronas Twin Towers used to be a couple of the highest buildings in the world. They have lost that record a long time ago because of all the high buildings that are being built. But they still have one record. They have the highest sky bridge in the world, on which I'm standing right now. It's sick.
Where did I go wrong?
In 1998, the Petronas Twin Towers were the tallest buildings in the world. And for the first time, that record was no longer in hands of Western countries.
Keeps on changing, and these broken thoughts are waking. I don't like to fly.
The highest floor here would be 88, but we as guests can only go until 86. But I think that's plenty. That's high enough for me. The other Petronas Twin Tower over there.
Down that slope, then I float to the coast with a lump in my throat. Say,
after 98, exactly 20 towers were built that are higher. But these remain the most beautiful.
singing a song with lyrics that don't rhyme. I keep fading away to a place that don't feel safe. And I pray that I wake up one day. I'm falling to pieces, I'm breaking apart. I'm ready to fix this, but where do I start? Where do I start? I'm falling to pieces, I'm breaking apart. I'm ready to fix this, but where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I?
A place not to be missed in KL is Dataran Merdeka, also known as Independence Square. The building behind me used to be the British Colonial Office, and this used to be a cricket field. In 1957, on the highest flagpole in the world, the Malaysian flag was raised for the first time and the British were moved out.
Don't turn a sinner to a saint though. I'm strung out, I'm anxious, I can't get high if I never get low. And I choke up when I think about how
And this place is also a nice starting point for a walk between the colonial buildings.
can't find a way out. I'm falling to pieces, I'm breaking apart.
And what's a big city these days without a sign? I love KL. I do.
Where do I start?
Our super quick city trip in Kuala Lumpur is almost over, but we take a dive on the rooftop pool before we move on to the rest of West Malaysia.
Pieces, I'm breaking.
Join us next time as we go on expedition in the jungle.
Where do I start? Where do I start?
Click subscribe and travel with us.
Where do I